Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all grind, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We are here, and you guys have officially entered the Ozone. It's your boy O, and we got another exciting show. But before we get started, happy Father's Day to all the amazing dads out there, and especially happy Father's Day to my dad that's in heaven. Keep them cold, Pops. Eddie Sasa lives forever. We got a jam-packed show. We getting a coach this week? We don't know. But we need to get it fast because the media is coming at the Knicks. Does Leon really have a plan? And both baseball teams, y'all started off the week great. Y'all ended it real ugly. Just as bad as the New York weather has been. And we got a jam-packed quick hits and a brand new segment that's bringing the heat. But you know, I can't get into all this without my co-host, super producer Dave himself. Brother, it's a new week. How we feeling?
Feeling good. I got my coffee, and you know that saying that we got McDonald's at home? No, I got Starbucks at home.
You do?
Yeah, I got it. Happy Father's Day. I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the amazing dads that are out there. My dad, I met Eddie, your dad. He was a great guy to be around. His energy was fun. And then the guys that we know, like our friends, they're amazing examples of dads that are out there, putting their kids first. That's one thing that, I definitely, we appreciate you dads.
Yeah, we know a lot of great dads. Before we get started, I'm gonna give y'all a dad joke. Dave knows the story about my dad. One day we was watching basketball, and then my dad said, "Oh, LeBron James is Puerto Rican." And I said, "Dad, he's not Puerto Rican." He goes, "Yes, his name is LeBron." Yes, exactly. That happened. That happened in real time. But
And LeBron is like it's Spanish associated. So I get where he's coming from, but
if it
now,
was his last name, I would understand it more. So if his name was James LeBron, he might have an argument. But,
yeah, we didn't see that at the moment, and we were just confused.
But all right. Speaking of confused, that's what the national media right now is thinking about this whole Knicks situation, Leon Rose and his coaching and how the Knicks are approaching it. But we know there are two candidates that'll get an interview this week. Let's get into it here on This Week in Knicks.
This week in Knicks.
All right, y'all. This Week in Knicks off-season edition. Brother, this is 2 weeks in a row that we did not think we would get any Knick news where we would have to open the show and create our title based off on the Knicks. But the Knicks is just the gift that keeps giving. Right now, this week has been announced by Ian Begley that the Knicks will be interviewing both former Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins and former Sacramento Kings Mike Brown for the head coaching job. They considered right now to be the lead candidates replacing Tom Thibodeau. Brother, I know we spoke about it last week about the Tom Thibodeau situation. We don't got to get into that. We spoke about what coaches we wanted, what coaches that we knew was a long shot. Now we cooking with gas, as they would say. We got Jenkins, we got Mike Brown. What's your thoughts so far on these two candidates that will be interviewed this week by the New York Knicks?
So, all right, let's just break. I'm gonna go straight into the candidates. So Taylor Jenkins, you think of him with John Morant, Desmond Bain, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. You think of developing those guys. You can see he's an offensive-minded coach. They like to space the ball. You can see a definitely not isolated ball as much as they would like John Morant to be. I think that's what the Grizzlies want to see. They want to see a little bit more ISO from John Morant. But when it comes to Mike Brown, he's a defensive oriented coach that we've seen, but he has adapted to being the better offensive mind. Like the Kings were one of the top scoring offenses 2 years ago in 2023. So we can see that they can get that done as well under Mike Brown. If you're asking me my opinion and who I'd like out of these two candidates, then I'm going to lean towards Jenkins. I definitely think that the Knicks need somebody who's a little bit more offensive minded. Defense is something you can, they got that. I think to an extent, you got what you're going to get out of these guys. You got Mikal, you got OG, you got Josh Hart, you got that defense there. But offense, I think that's where we're going to need some creativeness to be happening because we've spoke about this many times on the show. How many times did we come out of a timeout for it to look like what the hell did you guys talk about during this timeout?
Yeah, I think I agree with you with the Taylor Jenkins thing. I think look, I don't want to discredit Mike Brown. Where Mike Brown has, although he did coach LeBron, let's just be honest, he didn't coach great LeBron teams. It was pretty much LeBron and the others. You know what I mean? On those teams, we know what he was able to do in Sacramento. He's been a good assistant even from when his days in San Antonio with Pop. He's been credit for the defensive mindset of those Warrior teams as he was the assistant for Steve Kerr. Now, this is where I lean more Taylor Jenkins. I understand the cons with Taylor Jenkins. A lot of people felt that he doesn't run enough pick and rolls. And one of the glaring things when it comes to Taylor Jenkins is handling personalities. Now, the Grizzlies, there were a lot of off the court issues with them. Obviously, starting even before the John Morant Guns situation, you talk about the Dylan Brooks thing and how Dylan Brooks, was really sloppy. Where news came out while Dylan Brooks was still on the team that Memphis wasn't going to keep him, that they didn't want him here, and that sort of thing. And you had bickering between Desmond Bain and his teammate last year. So you're wondering, how is chemistry between the players and how is Taylor Jenkins going to be able to manage personalities? Now I know like I said, that's a glaring con when it comes to Taylor Jenkins. But you highlighted so many positives when it comes to Taylor Jenkins. One, and shout outs to Nick Nation on Twitter that had these bullet points when it came to Taylor Jenkins. He's willing to trust and play a deep rotation. One that is already a difference from Tom Thibodeau. Because if anything, we've had that problem with Tom Thibodeau where he doesn't trust his bench. He doesn't play his bench. He's developed young talent in Memphis. One that is something he's done. That is something the Knicks are going to have to lean on, as we touched on. The Knicks they're only going to be able to bring in vet minimum guys. They're not going to be able to bring in Nickeil Alexander-Walker, those kind of guys. They're not going to be able to bring in, a Troy Murphy III on a trade or whatever. Like, they're going to have to patch this team. They're going to have to build this team within the margins of the veteran minimum. So that means developing the young guys that you have, McCullers, Kolick, Hawkporty, Daddier. That's paramount. You know what I mean? So you're going to want that. Let's just be honest. He is 150. His Grizzlies teams have been very good. Outside of the injuries and John Moran suspensions, when Taylor Jenkins have had his full squad in Memphis, they have 150 games, back-to-back seasons. And what I like, though, too, about it, brother, and this is why I've wanted, this is why I still want Johnny Bryan, but age is on Taylor Jenkins' side. He's only 40 years old, man. He may look a little older. He may look a little older, but he is 40, which tells me he's a young coach. He's still developing. It's going to be a fresh voice, a modern approach to how he's going to coach the Knicks. We've said this last week. A lot of people who have said this. You let go of Tibbs. You can't bring a coach that kind of mirrors Tibbs. I get it. Mike Brown has had some offensive success with his teams. But I don't know. I think Mike Brown just gives me that old guard of coaching. Like I affiliate him with that. Although I may be wrong and some may disagree with me on that, I just affiliate him because he's been coaching for so long. I just put him in that Thibodeau even though he's much younger than Thibodeau, but I just put him in that Thibodeau plethora of coaching. You know what I mean? I want something fresh. And although, as I said many times on this show, I want Johnny Bryan, I do think Taylor Jenkins will be the better candidate of the two so far, because he's shown he can win, but he also has the youthfulness where he's willing to adapt to what the modern NBA is.
I agree. The only thing I think is the glaring thing for Jenkins would be, besides the John Morant stuff, and I think that this is more, when it comes to John Morant, it's more of a player issue than I think it is coaching. You know, at the end of the day, that you're not going to stop your guys from wanting to flash their gun 2 times in a row. So that's not something like I think your coach can control. But when it comes to Taylor Jenkins on his side and what he can control, the glaring thing that they think about is his playoff experience, and
But
he hasn't
I
had a
gotta.
great.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish, brother.
He
Go ahead.
hasn't
I'm
had a
sorry.
great playoff experience, but he has won the games. He has shown that during the regular season he can. Now, does that change with a different squad, though? Because at the end of the day, you have to give chances to coaches so you can see that they change eventually. Somebody may suck in the playoffs in one team and then go and turn into Greg Popovich. We don't know.
I gotta disagree with you on that. I gotta
Go for
disagree
it.
with you on the Morant thing, because I'll give you some examples. One, when have you ever heard a player have off the court issues on a Greg Popovich team, or Phil Jackson team, or Pat Riley team? Those coaches that are known to have you know that's these legacy coaches, even the Steve Kerr. Yeah, you hear little things with Draymond, but that's more on the court as little attitude. But I think good coaches know how to manage those kind of players that have such a uh have this big, I don't know, like this ego off the court or whatever. You look at The Last Dance, I think is a perfect example. The most out there player for the Bulls in those championship teams was Dennis Rodman. But Phil Jackson knew how to handle that. Look, I'm going to give you this if you don't give me that. Like, I'll let you go to Vegas, party in Vegas 2 days in a row. Don't make a fool of yourself, but just make sure you're back. And I feel like it could, although, yes, Taylor Jenkins cannot control John Morant handling guns, but I do think if he had that quality where he can get to Morant and go, bro, I don't care what you do, just don't do it in front of a camera. Don't do. I feel like, although he, like I said, he can't control John Morant, but I do think a great coach could handle that better. Now
I hear you.
I'll say this though. I don't think he's gonna have that issue with the Knicks, because no one on the Knicks have even have that kind of personality where you're gonna find them in a club. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you saw the pictures of the team in the club, but that's after the season was over.
As a
You know what
team.
I mean? Like, as a team, like, you're not gonna hear a Jalen Brunson. Oh, Jalen Brunson was out partying late. Cat Towns and Mikal Bridges. No, so he's not gonna have that issue in New York. But I do think coaching has something to do with that.
I hear you with the coaching aspect, but at the end of the day, you can't control personnel. You can't control how people act when they're not around you. You are a person who works with you, so you understand that those teenagers are going to do. And John Morant and teenagers are two different stories, but at the end of the day, he's still young, right? He's what, under 25? 25, 26, somewhere
Yeah,
around
it might
there?
be around there. That might be around there. Yeah, he might be younger
Yeah,
than 25. I'll check.
we could check that, but at the end of the day, you can't control who they decide to surround themselves with, and that's more of a problem with him and his peoples, John Morant and his camp, because at the end of the day, you should not be with people who are going to be recording you doing stupid things like that. That's just that's poor decision making, and that's not something I would
25.
catch. There we
He's
go.
25.
That's not something I would catch LeBron doing. LeBron probably carried around guns, flashing it with his friends, but you don't see somebody recording it and uploading it to Instagram and going on live. So that's the only thing that I want to debate with you, or not debate, but just like where we
No, it could be a
probably
debate.
differ.
It could be a debate.
I think that's more of a player thing than it is the coach. Now, had there been more stuff on the court where we see that there's a lot of like tension between him and John Morant, that's where I feel like, okay, this is a coaching issue.
That I get, but I'm still, although you made a valid point, brother, I'm still going to disagree with you on that, because
Okay.
I felt like if he had that level of respect, then John Moran will understand that in his decision making. You know, I never forget when I was younger, interning in my first job. You know, I made a bonehead mistake out of work, and my boss has said, "Look, you're a representation of this place. Although when you're not working, you still rep." And it's like I had so much respect for that supervisor that I've always thought that, and that's what I'm saying. You're right. He can't control like who John Morant surrounds himself around, but I feel like maybe if he also had that level of respect, or maybe I don't know, maybe Morant didn't. But then that's also all maybe on how he coached. Maybe John Morant would have had that level of respect for his coach, where he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Because like I said, Pat Riley had problematic players. Phil Jackson had problematic players. Greg Popovich had Steven Jackson, a problematic player. And those players did off the court stuff. You just never heard it because I felt like they had that level of respect for their coach where they didn't let it get to that point where it made them look where it made them look bad. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I hear. We definitely differ on both sides of this, but I
Yeah.
think we both agree at the end of the day, it could be a mutual thing, it could be a coaching thing, it could be a player personnel.
He ain't gonna have that problem in New York though. I'll
No,
say
that's
that.
that
He's
that
not
one
gonna have
hundred
that
percent we
problem in New
agree. When
York.
it comes to New York,
Yeah.
he's not going to have these issues.
Yeah, and before we wrap up with this, we said who we want. I just want to talk about this, brother. Like this narrative of that Leon Rose doesn't have a plan, and let's just put it like this: the Knicks coaching situation's getting more coverage than the NBA Finals. That's one. You got this narrative out there that the Knicks don't have a plan. I think they fired Thibodeau without knowing who the next coach is because obviously you're hearing all of this stuff about them being turned down by all these teams. Look, the Knicks are under a microscope. We all know that the Knicks get covered different than I would say probably maybe just the Lakers is probably up with the Lakers as far as up with the Knicks as far as their coverage. No one covers the NBA like that. They're doing their due diligence, guys. That's what this is. This is not any different. If you notice, no one's talking about who the Denver like before the Denver Nuggets hired Adam and they kept Adam in, but nobody talked about how they did their policies. You don't think Denver Nuggets probably hit up another organization? Hey, you're just doing your due diligence to see who's available, who's not. Which coach, it's the same thing about fillers we hear with players. But you notice no team gets made fun of when they do that, right? Hey, just putting out a filler there. Is Giannis happy? Hey, you gonna? That happens. It happens with the players. It happens in coaching. It's just right now it's under a microscope because of the Knicks. Them firing Thibodeau after being 2 games away from the East, 2 games away from the NBA Finals. The Knicks are just doing their diligence, guys. Especially Knicks fans that are out there saying whether Leon Rose has a plan. Guys, Leon Rose has been here for 5 years. Has there been any situation, anything that's happened in the 5 years where you said, I don't know if Leon Rose knows what he's doing? I'll wait because there is none. Leon Rose knows what he's doing. He's doing his due diligence to find out, hey, who's available, who's not. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. Obviously, the media is going to point it as the Knicks have no direction. Leon Rose knows what he's going to do. And I'll leave it at
But
that.
what? All right, I'm putting out this scenario and I'm throwing it on the wall. It's just me bringing up a point. Let's say the Knicks make it to the finals next year. Is that still the narrative? Or is it, oh, the Knicks are geniuses? Leon Rose cooked. This is one of the
No.
things, when it comes to sports media especially, it is so hot and cold. It is so wish-washy. Like,
To
the
me,
way that they feel today.
it's Monday morning. They Monday morning quarterback.
Right. So
They'll
they're
say
definitely
one
going
thing, and then when it's proven wrong, they'll flip it to make it seem like they never said it.
to. Right.
It's like with not to cut you off, Brian. I'll let you finish. It's like what Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith said after Game 3 when the Pacers won in the finals. He goes, "Well, I'm telling you this right now. If OKC lose Game 4, this series is over." Oh wow, that's jumping out the window. A team down 3-1. Bro, you're not saying anything. That's out of this world. You know what I mean? Like,
And you know what? The ozone, we like to keep receipts. So say whatever y'all want to say about the Knicks right now. But if we end up in a better position next year, we have the receipts. We have no problem calling you guys out on that.
brother, the Knicks, damn, and I had the information. The Knicks took, I want to say close to 2 months. I could be wrong. Close to 2 months, the coaching process when they hired Tom Thibodeau. They interviewed Jason Kidd. They interviewed Ime Udoka. They interviewed many candidates. Mike Brown. Mike Brown, this is, I think, Mike Brown's third interview. Mike Brown got interviewed when Steve Mills hired David Fisdale. Mike Brown got an interview when we hired Tom Thibodeau. So maybe third time's a charm. I personally speaking, I hope not. But the Knicks are just doing their due diligence to see who's available, who's not, who may be available. It's no different than when teams do it for players, and no one makes a big deal out of it.
And we're
Look at
still in
Sean.
June. We're still in
Right.
June. The season
Right.
doesn't start until October.
Right. And I'll say this. The timeline is a little shorter than that, though, brother, because you got the NBA draft. And you know, as a big football guy, you want to have your coach in place
Yeah.
by the draft. Because, obviously, you want this coach to influence who you draft, based off the style of the coach and whatever. Now, I'll say this. The Knicks don't got a first-round pick, so maybe it may not be as important, and maybe Tibbs might feel like, hey, listen, we'll punt this second-round pick or whatever because we want to give ourselves more time to get a coach. I do think, though, because you're hearing that although the Mavs declined Jason Kidd, you're still hearing that it was, the Knicks might try to pursue it. But I do think the Knicks will have a coach next week. So I think that might headline next week's episode. Anything you want to say, brother, on this situation before we move on?
Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. We trust in Leon. As last week's show, in Leon we trust. But you know who I'm not starting to trust? And it's not that I'm starting to trust. It's just they show us why Dave and I think they're not going to win the World Series. And that's the New York Yankees. Let's get into it on the Pinstripes Report.
The Pinstripe Report.
All right, y'all. This is the Pinstripes Report. This is where we cover the boys from the Bronx. And to be frank, after this weekend, I don't even care to cover them. I don't really care to cover them, to be honest. The Yankees, they started the week great. Swept the Royals. Started it great. You know what I mean? And then you go and lay an egg in Boston. I don't know why this Yankee team can't beat the Red Sox. They struggled against the Red Sox. I don't even want to talk about the World Series because you know what? I don't care. I don't care about the World Series. I just don't understand why we can't beat the Red Sox. We're making base running mistakes. Aaron Boone, I get it. Aaron Boone is a player's manager. He has the back of his players, and as a fan, as an owner, you want that. But you also want a coach that's going to hold his guys accountable. Now, I don't know if he's doing it behind the scenes, but I damn know he ain't doing it on the camera because he actually loved the aggressiveness and then questioned it to the media when the media asked him, do you think it was a heads-up play for Volpe to steal third with no outs in the 10th inning when he got caught stealing and basically ruined any possibility of scoring in that run? Knowing the way in extra innings in baseball with the ghost runner, when you're the road team, one run ain't good enough. You have to get two at least to at least feel comfortable that you can get the win. No, and you blow it getting one. Brother, there's an old baseball a narrative. You never make the first or the last out at third. There is no advantage to that. There's no advantage to that. You never make the first and last out at third. So and especially Boone, who's born and bred into baseball. His dad managed. You should know that. So why would you reward that kind of behavior? Then you get Saturday. And I love Jason Dominguez. Brother, you know I've been a big Jason Dominguez supporter. I've been on his side when they said he can't play left field. I feel like he should play every day. But you got to know how many damn outs it is, brother. Or how many strikes it is. He gets picked off when we're down 4-2, first and second. I believe I don't even remember if it was 1 out or 2 outs. This Yankee team, and you see it here. The last game of the Royal Series, they won 1-0. And I get it, Aaron Judge wasn't in the lineup, but they won 1-0. They lose 2-1 Friday, and they lose 4-3. We've said this, bro, countless times. Although the Yankees are in first place, and more than likely the Yankees are going to win their division, and the Yankees may very go to the World Series. They may very well go to the World Series. This team ain't good enough to win it all. This team's not good enough to win it all. Because you know why? Although Trent Grissom's been hot, I don't think that's going to last the whole year. I don't know if Goldie is going to continue to be hot the second half of the season. Does Clay Bellinger get hot as the season goes on? I know what we're getting out of Judge. I don't know what we're getting from everybody else.
And the thing is that, like, you have to highlight this. At the end of the day, the Boston Red Sox, yes, their record is 36-36 at the time of this recording. But that doesn't mean that's what they've been playing like. If you look at their last couple of games, they've been putting some games together, and they're playing a lot better than they should. And then when you're playing against your rivals and they show up, that's glaring at the end of the day. I don't care if they're fourth place in our division. And it's still not showing on paper, it's showing on paper, but we're not seeing the results. We're playing them, and they're just playing way better than us when we should not be looking like this. So we'll give credit to them as much as we hate them. But the fact is, the Yankees,
and we got called out.
And I'm okay with being called out.
I'll own up to it by a good friend Joey, who's a Red Sox fan. We're 0 for 2. And he said, you better stop picking the Yankees winning 2 out of 3 against his boys. And as much as I hate it, and as much as I cursed him out on the chat, he is absolutely right. Because right now, the Boston Red Sox have pretty much owned us. Now, as of this recording, we don't know if the Yankees avoid a sweep. I would damn hope we do. But right now, I get it. Like you said, we got a 4.5 game lead on Tampa. Thank you, Mets. Thank you, Mets. And I say, look at my face when I say it, because I'm going to get to y'all. Ooh, I'm going to get to y'all. And right now, 4.5 up against Toronto. But this Yankee team needs to do something. And I would, just to put a little silver lining maybe on this, brother. Good thing this is happening before the deadline. Now, news is, Aaron Boone did announce that we should be getting Stanton back this week. So that should be a good thing. Adds more pop. Stanton, I know, had a few hits already in Somerset in rehab start. So that's a good thing we're getting Aaron Judge back. Stanton back. We got to get another arm. We got to get another arm in the bullpen. This Yankee team, I don't know. I just don't think we're good enough. I just don't think we're good enough to get to the top, especially when you look at teams in the National League. I just don't think that.
Especially the way that this team is constructed.
Not right now. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for prefacing that, brother. Right now. Things could change at the deadline. The Yankees can make certain moves that'll change my mind. But as of right now, as of this recording, I am not confident that the Yankees are going to win the World Series. Some may argue with me, brother, and go, you too high on them when you think they're going to make the World Series. Detroit might get them. You know what I'm saying? Seattle could possibly get them. I don't think so. But those teams also can make moves at the deadline to make them better. So, it's possible. Let's get into the Yankees schedule coming up. They got a homestand, so hopefully they can get right. They start Monday tonight against the Los Angeles Angels. They did well against them. Didn't they sweep them in Anaheim?
I can double check that. I could double check that, but yeah.
I believe they swept them. But right now,
yes, they did.
Yeah. So the Angels right now, They're 2.5 games out of first place in the AL West. No, it's 6.5. My bad. They're 2.5 games from the wild card. I gotta tell you how bad the American League is. They're 2.5 games out the wild card, and they're 33-36. They're 3 games under 500. So the Yankees got a 4-game set with them, and then followed by a 3-game set with the really disappointing Orioles. They're 11 games under 500. The Orioles was looked at as a team that we thought we were going to have to compete with them for the next 10 years, especially with their young talent with Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, but they suck. But I'm going to be honest. The Yankees do this. We were a little disappointed with them last weekend, and then they came in and they swept the Royals. But then they go and crap the bed in Boston. It's a 4-game set with the Angels. I'm going 3 out of 4. I think, with Stanton coming back, I think that they get a new jolt into the lineup. They're home. They really haven't been playing a lot of homes consistently. So as of this, they've been, so I'm gonna go 3 out of 4, and then I'm gonna go 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. That Sunday game is at 11:30. Wow,
Yeah,
11:30 a.m. I think
it's
that's that
Roku
Roku
special.
game. That's a Roku game. Yeah, it's a Roku game. So, 3 out of 4 against the Angels, 2 out of 3 against the Orioles.
All right. I got the 3 out of 4 against the Angels, but I have a sweep against the Baltimore.
All right. So you have 3 out of 4. So we got to do the games because if we have it the same, we got to do this game. So I got us winning the first 2 against Anaheim, losing the third, winning the fourth.
I got us winning the first game, losing the second, and then winning the rest of the Angel series, and then I already got the sweep for Baltimore.
All right, so we're different on that. So go Yankees. Hopefully, like I said, we don't know if they did win the third game in Boston, but hopefully they did. And change things around at home. Take advantage at home. You're going against teams under 500. Get fat when you can get fat. Let's transition to them boys across town because they had a very, very similar week to the Yankees. Let's get into it here on the Amazing Rundown.
The Amazing Rundown. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby. Let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
All right, y'all. The Amazing Rundown. This is where we cover them boys from Queens. And as I said, the Mets, y'all really hate the Yankees because y'all cannot beat an American League East team. Y'all is really about that life. Y'all can't stand the Yankees. Because, they had an identical week to the New York Yankees. They swept, the Washington Nationals, and that looked a little funny in the beginning, but they made it. They made it work. They swept. And then they go against Tampa at home. And although I want to preface this, like the Mets still have the best home record in baseball. So I get that. But you go and drop 2 in a row to the Tampa Bay Rays at home. And right now, they're 27-9, so they lose their second series at home. The Mets right now have a 3.5 game lead as of this recording with the Phillies. Right now, the Mets pitching is, although it's great, they have the very low ERA. I think you got to worry. Kodai Singer gets hurt, goes on the IL. Clay Holmes now was pitching phenomenal his last start. Carlos Mendoza takes him out in the 5th inning. He says it's because it was his start from Colorado and his breathing and that sort of thing. I don't know. I think that's a cover-up. But I hope it's not nothing too serious. Frankie Montas right now is he's looking like a softball pitcher in the minor leagues. Griffin Canning is kind of, although he's having a good year, he's also kind of reverted. It looks like guys they're starting to catch up to him a little bit. this Mets team, Tyler Miguel, is starting to struggle. Now, shout out David Peterson, complete game shutout. But you look at Tyler Miguel, his last seven, he's 2-3, over 5 ERA. He's given up 33 hits, so he's in just 32 innings. Right now, Tyler McGill is starting. That's something that the Mets might have to address. And I did mention it last week when I said that they're the best team. Yeah, who knows? They may be in the runnings. Maybe they might have to get. Call Texas and call for Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know Meth, but go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry to cut you off, but no, the Mets do have some things that are going well for them. They have Jeff McNeil; he's looking great for
Jeff
them.
McNeil.
You know, he's what, he hit a fourth home run in 5 games, and then you also have Brett Beatty. He's also looking a little bit better and getting more comfortable being out there. So there are some glaring positives for the Mets. There's just, putting together those games that keep you in first. We last week you came on this show and you talked about how they are the best team in baseball.
I do. I
And
still think that. I still do think that.
yes, and you can lose games as the best team in baseball. That's perfectly fine. But these are games that are winnable for the Mets. And, you hope with the Senga injury that he comes back, great after 2 weeks. It's going to be, what, 2 weeks till he's out, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, 15 IL. Yeah, so he's gonna
Yeah,
be
so
out.
you hope Senga's looking good. And, that's also leading closer into the All-Star break. So that's a little bit more time for him as well coming up. But you just hope that you don't lose sight of where you are right now, and you want to keep that momentum going. The Mets look great this year, so we want to make sure that you guys just get it back together, get back on track.
Yeah, look. I know this narrative has been out there in New York about what team is better. I know that's been who has the best team. The Yankees or the Mets, and I've said this: the Mets are a better team. People want to go through positions and that sort of thing of where the Yankees are better than the Mets or where the Mets are better than the Yankees. Look, the Mets are the best team, but what I will say this: things are going to get a little bit harder. Things are going to get a little bit harder for the Mets because they schedule in the next coming weeks. They're going to be playing division rivals, and let's get into it because this week is a very big week for the New York Mets. Very big week. You're on the road, and you're playing 3 against your rival, the Atlanta Braves, starting Tuesday, and then you wrap up the week with a 3-game set against the Phillies. Now, I want to preface this because I know, and as Met fans should, Met fans have the confidence that they are not afraid of those teams, and as they shouldn't. They've handled the Phillies well. Obviously, their success from last year in the playoffs against the Phillies, but the Phillies are 3.5 games. Now, I know they're 4-6 in their last 10, but they've won 3 straight so far. Atlanta is 7 games under 500 as of this recording, but they've won 3 straight. This is a big series. You have to take the Braves and the Phillies as if they're still the teams that they were. Like, don't get the record out the way because this is a big week. Although the Mets right now have a 3.5 game lead, at the end of this week, they could be out of first place. That's how important this week is. And you're on the road. The Mets although the Mets have been exceptional at home, they're only 1 game over 500 on the road. That's something the Mets have to clean up. And I didn't know that before I made my statement that I think they're the best team in baseball and I think they're the World Series favorites. It doesn't change my opinion on that. But when I saw that road record, it's like championship teams or teams with aspirations to win a championship know how to win on the road. This Met team needs to prove that, and they need to prove it this week. And I think they won't. I think they drop both series. 2 out of 3 to the Braves, 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. And I only say that because this Met team has not hit a slide yet. And I think it's coming. All teams go through it. All teams go through that slide and it creates that doubt. Like, are we really good? and I think this is the week. I think this is the week where, and I hope I'm wrong. I honestly hope I'm wrong. But I think the Mets lose 2 out of 3, so I do think Atlanta wins the first game. I'm gonna go easy. Atlanta wins first, drops the second, wins the first. I think the Phillies do the same, win the first, drop the second, win the third. But I got the Mets losing both series.
Against Atlanta, I got the Mets winning 2 out of 3. I just looked over the record for the Braves, and yeah, your last wins came off the Rockies, but who hasn't won against the Rockies? So I'm gonna say that they you know
All right,
they
that's
they
fair. That's
they win
fair.
two
That's fair.
they win 2 out of 3 against the Braves, but they end up dropping
Lose.
they not even dropping that series. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I could see them going 1 for 2 in that series against Philly. Philly is still the second best, in that division, and they are your rivals. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why you guys are wanting to stay at first place going into to the playoffs against that team.
Yeah.
So
So go ahead. What do you have then? I got the Phillies winning the first, winning the third. So they dropped
so
the second game. So you got
yep,
the same, or we can keep it the same if you think so.
so I got them winning the first game, losing the second game, winning the third against Atlanta.
Yeah, that doesn't matter because I got them losing the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So if
then
the Mets win the series, however, you get a point for that.
right, and then Philly. I could see them losing that first game with Miguel pitching, and then bringing it back 2-3 against Canning and Peterson. Yep.
Oh, that's what the Mets got in that series.
Yeah, they got Miguel
Yeah,
Peterson.
Yup. I'm sticking to my thing. I think they
Miguel
win the.
Canning
I
Peterson.
think. All right, so Peterson is the last game.
Yep.
So I got the Phillies winning the first two. I got Phillies winning the first two, and then them dropping the third game. I think Peterson gets it done. Tyler McGill right now has been struggling, so I think the Phillies get to him. And like I said, Griffin Canning right now, although he was hot, his ERA is he's been good, but he's been having inconsistent starts. So so I'm gonna change my. I think Phillies win the first two, drop the third, because I think David Peterson has been lights out, and he has been. I think he's been one of the best pitcher. I know Kodai Senga's been, Kodai Senga's ERA can battle that, but let's see, brother. Let's look at the standings. I don't think none of us gets a point from last week's predictions because we had the Royals 2 out of 3, but the Yankees swept, and then we had them winning the Boston series. Yankees lost. I think we both predicted Mets sweeping the Nationals, right? This is where I'm putting the honor system with you because I know I had.
I'm honestly, I'm gonna be really honest. I forgot our thing, and I think we're gonna have to write this down, our records and the predictions, because I forgot our whole thing.
Let's wash up. Baseball's so hard. All right, how about this, brother? How about this? How about we do it for football season? I think football season will be a lot easier. Honestly, because you think about it, baseball is just right. It's so many games. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, especially with the Mets, I'm like, damn, how do we do it?
It's so hard because there's so many games, and it's all right, I predicted the Yankees lose this game, but they won this game, so I don't get a point, and it's too much.
Football, and this is what I think with football, and I think, and you guys are gonna get a little bit behind the curtains right now. What I want to do, although Dave and I will be picking, we are a New York podcast, and we will be covering the Jets and the Giants. And Tony, I'm sorry, we will be covering the Jets. Tony got on me. Obviously, shout out to Tony Papers. He let us use his music for the intro in the beginning, and when we first started our show. But Tony got on me because he's like, "Yo, I'm tired of the lack of Jets coverage." And I'm like, "Brother, we ain't get the football season yet." So we will be having segments for the Giants and Jets. But Dave doesn't know this, but I know Dave will be fully on board with this. We will be making NFL picks. So for the week. So I think that might be the best. It'll be easier to track, and then we can bet on that.
Can I? So with the football thing, real quick, before we go and move on to the next topic, that one's a little harder, right? Because are we making our picks after the game's already played, or do we make them for the week upcoming?
Well, because our show airs on Monday, we will be picking the week ahead.
Cool. That's it.
So yeah, we'll be picking the week ahead. So that's what we'll do. We might have to change our record time. I don't know. Football season. We'll think about that. At least the good thing is, for the most part, both of our teams are East Coast teams. So for the most part, they might be playing at 1:00, so it might be easier. Maybe we might have to push the record a little bit or whatever. But we'll see. Maybe do we move the Ozone to Tuesdays during the football season? That is something to think about. Maybe we don't know yet. But you guys are getting a little bit behind the scenes of what Dave and I discuss on a daily basis when it comes to the show. But what we have discussed, and you guys are gonna see it now, is our new segment, and it's called Heat Check. All right, y'all. So this is Heat Check, but we gotta pause it because we got breaking news. Breaking news as Dave and I are talking. The Memphis Grizzlies have traded Desmond Bane. We were just talking about the Memphis Grizzlies on this episode. The Memphis Grizzlies have traded Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-round picks and 1 first-round pick swap. I'll tell you this right now, and keep this here. Keep this here. Don't edit this out. I don't want to hear no shit about the Mikal Bridges trade. That's 1. Desmond Bane. At least with Mikal Bridges, okay, we gave her 5 first-round picks, 4 of them unprotected. The same thing, the same package. But we didn't give up role players to get him as well. We traded expiring contracts and a hurt player. They traded, and this is the Magic really going for it. And I think they went for the wrong player. They gave up way too much in this deal. You gave up a sniper in KCP from a team that lacks shooting. Cole Anthony, who's a productive off the bench point guard, and you gave up 5 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, I'm gonna preach this narrative that they preach with Mikal Bridges. Never made an All-Star, never made an All-NBA. I don't want to hear anything about the Mikal Bridges trade anymore.
Yeah, and this is a Desmond Bane that they have criticized as far as his size, his length, things that have been brought up against him. And I think if you're making that trade, I would have made that for Triple J. I would have made that trade for Triple J.
Exactly. If that was Jerry Jackson Jr., I would understand it. I would totally understand it.
Yeah.
But this is Desmond Bane, the 3rd best player on the team. Not the second.
Yeah.
3rd best player.
A KCP that we were interested in for the Knicks. That's somebody we were looking at. So
he would be perfect for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we are gonna see. Orlando is sending their 16th pick for this year's draft. And just going over Phoenix's first-round pick in 2026, Magic's 2028 for unprotected first-rounder, and then 2030 unprotected first. So, and the pick swap is lightly protected in 2029. So, look, this is good for the Magic in the end of the day as far as, like, they need improvement. This is the team on the up and coming, Paulo Banchero, Wagner. Like, there's a lot of potential on that team. But I think they did give up too much for Desmond Bane. Maybe.
Look, right now, on Nick Twitter right now is exactly the narrative I just said. The Mikal Bridges is no longer... The Mikal Bridges trade isn't the worst trade anymore.
Yeah.
And look, right now, the question is Jarrett, is Triple J available? And so this is the projected, this is definitely an Orlando Magic Twitter page. They put the lineup: Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Pablo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. Oh, this is a top 3 seed in the East. I heavily disagree with that, but
they're better.
Yeah.
I'll say that they're better.
Better. I don't know how much better.
They're better, but we'll see.
I don't know how much better. But guys, let's get into our new segment. This is Heat Check.
What are those?
This is where Dave and I cover everything that we love. This is where we cover sneaker news, and sneaker releases, and what we just think about the sneaker community in general, guys. So right now, this past weekend, we saw some releases that honestly, to me, brother's been questionable. This past weekend, we saw the release of the Air Jordan 14 Ferraris. That's probably the biggest shoe that came out this past weekend, and they sold out according to Nike. I don't know how much I believe into that. I'm gonna be honest, considering you know, lately Nike really hasn't had a shoe that has done well as far as selling out. I think I'll get into it like once I get your take on this shoe. I think there's something that Nike's doing to change the narrative when it comes to their shoes. But brother, what do you think of the Ferrari 14s?
I mean, they're a sneaker. They're cool. They're not a sneaker I would overpay for, right? They're not a
Yeah,
sneaker that I would go on StockX and pay 50 to more dollars over the asking price. They're okay if I were to walk in and I had the money and I just, I haven't bought sneakers in a while. Maybe I walk in and buy them, but I'm not rushing to the store. I'm not running like this video that's playing right now,
yeah,
where you have
yeah. I was
people
gonna say
running in
like the
and
boys in Memphis.
yeah, in Memphis, you guys have enough issues with stealing
Memphis
sneakers
is
over there.
different. Memphis is different, right? Memphis is just different.
Isn't
Yeah,
Memphis known for all those sneaker like steals? Like, yeah,
yeah. The
yeah.
the Cherry 11s. I think they call those the Memphis 11s or something like that because obviously when they stole they hijacked the truck. But yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100% when it comes to this shoe. It's funny because I did read something on I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry, I don't but they had mentioned like he really it's kind of like he's theorizing that Nike, let's say for example they have 250 units, right? 250,000 units, right? For the shoe. He feels like on release date they'll drop maybe 125,000 units. So it's
Hmm.
like it shows on that weekend that it's sold out, and then when they're doing their restock, the restock is just those shoes that they didn't want to drop on the initial date. The remaining, so it makes it look like the shoes more valued that people want it. And where a narrative, if you would have just dropped the 250 on release date, they're not selling out. So I'm like, okay, I can see something into that, only because, brother, there's a lot better shoes. The Cement Force that's come out recently, even the Black Cement threes that have come out recently, that are a much better shoe than the Ferrari 14, in my opinion, that didn't sell out. Matter of fact, the UNC ones that came out a few weeks ago, I was able to get them. And I have the 2015 pair, that's why I didn't buy them. If not, I would have bought them. That shoe was available in my size like at around 11:30, 12 noon. And Nike drops their shoes at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll tell you. So I think that the Ferrari 14s, I think there's something into that. I think there's something into that. Um,
Can I also say
yeah,
something? There's
yeah. Go
like,
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
brother, have you noticed a lot more exclusive accesses these days?
Yes,
There's
yes,
a lot of
yes.
fake exclusive access, and I think it leads more to the point that you're bringing up that they're not releasing all their sneakers in one shot, and they're not selling out. They're selling out, but they still have more inventory.
Yep.
So don't be surprised in a few weeks where one of us in the group chat gets hit up with the exclusive access. I just got
And
them with the unions
you
the
got
other
it for
day.
the unions. I got it for the cement fours. I got it for the white cement fours. You got. Did you get it for the unions twice? I feel
I
like you
think I
got it
got
for
it
the
for the
unions
unions
twice.
twice,
Yeah,
but
because you asked
yeah.
us twice in the chat whether one of us wanted them. And
So
and did Joey get it?
we
Did
we tried to
Joey?
pull the trigger, but by the time everything was done, that was gone. 12 was gone.
Oh, got it. Speaking of, and this is part of Heat Check. This weekend I went to Kith, and brother, I'm in fatality mode, baby. You already know fatality mode. For those that shop at Kith, you know what the vibes are when you're on vitality mode. Exclusive access to everything. You know the vibes. Let's move on, guys. And shout out to you, brother. Ronnie, cut the check. Cut the check. Yo, sponsor the Ozone. We wear Kith merch every episode. You sponsor us, Ronnie Fike. Let's talk to another sneaker that released over the weekend. It was the Nike SB Dunk Low Red Stardust, and this is the crazy part. So, brother, when I was writing the script and I'm finding, I'm looking at what shoes came out. I'm looking at this shoe, and I noticed that it's sold out, and I'm like, bro, this is a dunk. I'm like, how did it sell out? I didn't realize now until I'm reading it. It's a Nike SB Dunk. So SBs, although the dunk wave it's faded away. You can literally walk into a Foot Locker and buy a Panda Dunk and all these other dunks. But it's an SB. SB still holds a little bit more clout. SB is a little bit more of a premium shoe than the Nike Dunk for those that may not know. But looking at this color, it's not my style. It's not what I would normally go for. But it did sell out, and it made waves around Twitter. This was a highly touted shoe over the weekend, brother.
Yeah, well, we already know the SB dunks are. There's no like as far as dunks go. Like if you want one, get an SB dunk because the quality, the comfort is there, and it's just made better. The dunks I feel like are just throwaways at this point, like the regular ones. But as far as the colorway is, I'm cool with it. If I wanted to build my collection and just have a bunch of different crazy
I
colorways.
think, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's if you're like this SB connoisseur, like a big collector, then I think it's something to have.
That, or if you have
But
like,
I
or
don't.
if you just have a huge collection and you like funky colors, like I like
Yeah,
funky colors.
yeah.
I love my what the like KDs. I love my what the LeBrons. I love having those different colors on sneakers, and they definitely stand out when you're wearing like an all black outfit and stuff like that. But it's just not a sneaker that I feel like picking up at this time. I've taken a break from sneakers at the moment of purchasing. That may come, change as soon as some of these drops come up that I'm looking forward to. But definitely definitely not a sneaker that I would be picking up, but I get the appeal just because of the comfort of the SBs.
Yeah, I do. I just don't think it screams casual, and I think the problem with Nike right now is they're making colors to. I think they need to make more casual colors, and I think that's what made the Panda Dunk so successful. Is that I know sneakerheads hate it. I was never really those that did, um, but it made it easier for casuals to wear. And I think this color just doesn't do that. I think this color is catered more to the SB person. I don't, you would have to be like you said, brother, like a person that's in the funky colors that would want that. But then again, you're not gonna get into a store walking that because it's sold out. Um, so guys, let's get into some sneakers that are coming out. And let's start right now with the Air Jordan 1 women's exclusive wash teal that is coming out on June 18th. Um, these are ass ugly. I don't like them. I just don't like them. I can see how if you're a big Liberty fan, they could go really well with the New York Liberty jersey. Um, I just hate shoes like one solid color like that. I don't think that's the style now. Um, although some might differ who got the Nigel bricks. Um, I just don't like shoes that just one uniform color anymore. So I'm not a fan of these, to be honest.
Yeah, these are a cool summer sneaker if you're a younger kid. Like I can see
Yeah,
that. Like if you're a teenager, early 20s and stuff like that, I can see that being the sneaker. Or like you said, like a Liberty fan, or if this matches one of your team's colorways. But this isn't the sneaker that I would go for. And I have purchased a couple of women's sneakers in my size, but this is not one of them.
yeah. I don't know, but they come out the 18th, guys. Um, Retail price $140. Nike got two more other sneakers coming out. They got their Nike Air Waffle package. The Let's talk about the bright ceramic colorway, which is my favorite. I love that one. I like that color. This is a shoe where um I like this shoe. I honestly do. I could see myself wearing this shoe. I won't buy it. This is good. You know what I call this shoe, brother? An outlet shoe. This is a sneaker that if I found in the outlet, because right now I got a 145 retail price. This is a sneaker where if like they have it in the outlet for 70 with an additional 40% off, like how outlets normally get, I'm getting this shoe. This is a shoe that I would wear to work, like regular casual. You know what I mean? My work shirt, some jeans, nice jeans. Like that's what this shoe screams to me. It kind of does look like it kind of does look like the Tom Sachs a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Just because I was looking at the sneaker, I'm like, what does this remind me of? And I literally typed it in. I'm
Yeah.
like, Mars Yards.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what I
Yeah.
was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like that. So I like this colorway. What about you, brother? Before we get to the other colorway.
So I like the sneaker, but I actually like the other one more. So
Oh, you
this is a
do?
cool
All right,
sneaker.
so let's
Yeah.
get into it.
This is a
Let's
cool
get
sneaker.
into it. That's
Yeah.
the Sprinter Green Electric Lime color. So both are coming out the same day.
And this sneaker is one. It's also not one that I want to pay full price for. But if I see it in the outlet, and if I see it under $100, it's coming home. This
Yeah.
sneaker is definitely a sneaker that stands out. And I can think of different things. Like I'm a person who loves to put all black on and let the sneaker stand out and be the statement piece of what I'm wearing. So this is definitely one of those sneakers that I can see that I want to put together. I definitely would bring it home if it's under $100 and I see it. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good shoe. I just prefer the other ones more. I'm more of a subtle guy, but I can see your point in that, like making that your piece. Making that your piece. I think if you were to wear those, then you have to wear some solid colors with your clothing so you can put more emphasis on that shoe. I agree 100%. Now we getting into the hood shoe. Uh the Nike Foam Posit ones, white out. This just screams Puerto Rican in the Bronx. I um I've never been a fan of an all white foam posit. I'm not even a fan of the all black foam posits. I know that's a little bit more, people love that a little bit more, but I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of these at all, especially at the price that foam posits are at. So the Nike Air Foam Posit ones whiteouts come out June 20th at a retail price of $240. As I said, brother, I'm not a fan.
These are gonna go triple platinum in New York City. I'll tell you that.
Yo,
These will be
yeah,
flooded on the
yeah.
streets this summer. This is not a sneaker for me. I like foam posits, but I don't like too much of the price that it's come to at this
Yeah,
point.
that's the thing, man.
The $240 is a really hard price to just think about. There's so many other things that I could think of doing with $240 for a sneaker, especially an all white sneaker like the foam posits. Um, I don't know. I could
You know
come
what
home
it
with
is? That rubber gets dirty so fast. That shoe is gonna look disgusting. In
oh my
like,
god, just dye it
yeah,
at this point. If you're
yeah,
if you're
yeah,
creative, just dye it, do something else with
yeah.
it. But
I think if anything, right, that's a perfect shoe for somebody that likes to customize
Walter,
their shoes. Yeah, well, shout out to Walter. That customizes their shoes and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's perfect. But I think the main event is our next shoe, brother, and that's the Air Jordan 5 Grapes that are coming out the following day, June 21st. So I really think them full posits will be selling because I think a lot of people will be putting their eggs in this basket. The Air Jordan 5 Grapes, and they return to their OG form. So this is something that Nike has been doing now. They started that with their 11s a few years ago with the higher patent leather. They did it with their 4s and their 3s now, and now they're doing it with the 5s where they're getting the original cut of as far as height, look, design, everything. Um, they have a 210 price tag. I'm messing with these. I like 5s. Um, I'm rocking with these. I'm rocking with these. The Great 5s is one of the best 5 Air Jordan 5 colorways. And yo, this screams summer, yo. New York is gonna be valley with those. With the Charlotte Hornets. Like that's just like the New York outfit. Somebody gonna have the Charlotte Hornets. Cap USA is gonna come out with a Charlotte Hornets fitted to go perfect with the Great 5s.
yeah, these are probably my second favorite sneaker as far as the fives go in colorway.
What's
Um,
one? What's one?
the grapes, the grapes. I
Oh,
like
the black, the black grapes.
the black metallics. I have is that's my favorite sneaker
Oh, that's your number one. The black
as far as
metallics.
Jordan fives. Yeah.
God, oh yeah, and those
So
came
the
out.
grapes.
Matter of fact, that you mentioned it, those are the first 5s that come out with the original cut, and those did very well. They sold out. That's why I think the grapes will sell out as well.
So yeah, the grapes are a colorway that I definitely would see myself picking up sometime in the future. I like them, I really do, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
just I got nothing else
yeah,
to say about that. They're a
yeah,
dope
yeah,
sneaker.
yeah. They're a dope shoe. So guys, that was Heat Check. Obviously, like, when there's sneaking news, and shout out to Brandon Dunn. Brandon Dunn, for those that know, he worked at Complex. He was in a very popular show for the Complex called Full Size Run, where he helped co-host with Matt Welty, Trinidad James. He was also part of the Complex Sneaker podcast with Joe LaPuma and Matt Welts. Brandon Dunn is very, very known in the sneaker community for his stories that he's written on releases and that sort of stuff. I know he's done 10 plus years in Complex. So thank you, Brandon Dunn, for all that you've done for the sneaker community, and good luck in your future endeavors. But guys, things are going to get a little quick because this is Quick Hits. All right, y'all. This is Quick Hits. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits are so quick, you don't see it coming. Brother, according to NBA writer Zach Lowe, the Minnesota Timberwolves are reportedly gaining steam as a potential landing spot for Kevin Durant. Now it's come to that Kevin Durant wants to play for his preferred destinations is now Houston and San Antonio, with Miami sprinkled in. But if Minnesota's looked at as the favorite, brother, would Minnesota be the best destination for Kevin Durant at this stage of his career?
As the way that this team is constructed at this moment, I think the Timberwolves out of those other teams are probably the best besides Houston.
Yeah,
Houston would
I
probably
agree.
get better leadership and everything under Kevin Durant. He's not so Kevin Durant is not a leader per se where I say
No,
he is,
nah.
but he is veteran. He is a leadership presence, but I don't think he's your go-to leader. We've seen it in when he was in the Warriors that the leader of that locker room is Draymond Green. As much as we don't like him, we've seen it where Kevin Durant is in Phoenix is not great working out there. We've seen his leadership under the Nets, and that wasn't there as well. So if you're looking for a leader, that's not Kevin Durant. But if you're looking for someone to improve your team and be that go-to, oh my God, we're better than right now to play with Ant-Man. And maybe if you keep Randall, there's different things
Yeah,
going on there, but the Timberwolves. But I think as far as best landing spot for Kevin Durant in this stage of his career, it would have to be the Timberwolves, then Houston.
yeah, I would agree. I think with him and Edwards, I think that's although Kevin Durant is 36, Kevin Durant is still an elite scorer, and you pair him up with Ant Edwards, that's insane. But I do like Houston if it doesn't work out. I just don't think Miami, and that's just not my hate for Miami, but I just don't think Miami's is a. I don't think it does anything for him. And San Antonio is intriguing. San Antonio is intriguing with D'Angelo Fox, with Wemby, but
De'Aaron.
I said D'Angelo. Why did I say D'Angelo Fox? De, De'Aaron Fox, De'Aaron Fox, and Wemby. But I do think I'm just more intrigued with the pairing of KD and Ant Man.
I mean, there's two aliens there. If they have Wemby and Kevin Durant, like those guys are
Yeah,
just
yeah,
Slenderman. So, I'm gonna
yeah,
put the image of
yeah,
Slenderman right now, and this is what you're
yeah.
gonna see. So, all right, let's keep it in basketball. So, the New Orleans Pelicans made their asking price clear for Trey Murphy, the third, a playoff-ready veteran, a promising young prospect, and multiple first-round picks. Is Murphy really worth that steep price? What do you think, bro?
I'll tell you this: after the Desmond Baines, hell yeah, he is. Why not? Desmond Baines went for exactly that package. A playoff ready veteran player. That's Caldwell Pope. A promising young prospect. Maybe that's not Cole Anthony. We know what we're gonna get from Cole Anthony, and multiple first round picks, which Orlando gave up 5. And I'm gonna be honest, Troy Murphy, I get it. He has injuries. He's been plagued with injuries. He's a much better player than Desmond Bain, and he fits more of what the NBA, what you need now, is 3-and-D guys. He has the height, he has the offensive bag, and he's an elite defender. As you touched on, Desmond Bain is an undersized guard. Desmond Bain's a good shooter. Desmond Bain can be physical on the defensive end, but he's undersized. And Orlando literally just gave up that package for Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
I thought initially when writing the script it's a bit too high. I think I'm fine with the playoff veteran and the picks, but a promising young prospect too. I think that's a little bit of an extreme. But after hearing this Desmond Bain deal, hey, New Orleans, reach for the stars.
I mean, New Orleans at this point is heading towards a rebuild, especially with everything going on with Zion and maybe not having him for some part of the season if they end up doing the right thing. So Trey Murphy being gone, I guess that asking price is not too much of a stretch at this point. The guy's 24 years old. He averaged 21 points this year. So I don't blame the Pelicans for reaching for that, but it may be too much at this point. But who knows? Somebody might be a sucker and make that trade. So we'll see.
Yeah,
And
we'll
if the
see.
Knicks are that sucker, then
I would,
I'll
man, I would
I'll
love.
eat I'll eat my words. But still,
Yeah, I would love Troy Murphy, man. But yeah, so ESPN Shams Sharanya, he's been working. This guy takes 0 days off. He reported over the weekend that the Houston Rockets has signed center Steven Adams to a 3-year, $39 million contract extension. Was that a smart move by Houston?
so we'll keep bringing this up because this is going to be brought up a lot, especially this offseason. This is what the league is when it comes to contracts. And Steven Adams was the guy that a lot of people were going to go after because they want that big man
Yeah,
presence. And he is a leader. He is somebody that is really respected in the league. I guess it's the right move for them because this is a young team on the Rockets, and they definitely want somebody there who's going to be a presence. But he was going to go somewhere else for the same price, I think.
yeah. It's so I can't stop reading Twitter, bro, and it's just so funny how we all think the same Knick fans. Like the Knick fans are just reacting to yo the Mikal Bridges. We don't want to hear about it no more. Brother, when you get a chance, you'll check Twitter and
Yeah.
all that. But to this point with Steven Adams, it's just so funny, brother, how Steven Adams was looked at as one of these guys that maybe you could bring in with the vet minimum. And it's so funny he's got more than that. I think it's important for them. I don't think it's much. If you really do the math, it's roughly what 13. It's 13 million a year. Yeah, 13 million a year, 3 years at 39. I think for what he provides to the team. I think Steven Adams at this point, whatever you could get from him on the court is nice, but what he brings as far as leadership goes, I think is more valuable. And with a young team like Houston, keeping guys like that to have that veteran presence, almost a la what Udonis Haslam was for Miami, at the tail end of his career, I think that's important, especially for a young team like that. So kudos to Houston on that. I think that was a good signing.
All right, let's still keep it in basketball, but we're moving to the big three. Dwight
Yeah, the
Howard
big
and
three.
Dwight Howard and Lance Stevenson, someone we had an altercation with, were
Yeah,
ejected after a scuffle in their big three debut. Is this the kind of intensity that this NBA is missing?
I think so. You look at before Dwight Howard and Lance, although they got ejected, and as they should, it was a big scuffle. But before that, former NBA player Jordan Crawford and Lance Stevenson got into some heat where he puts his finger in Stevenson's face. Stevenson, it looked like he swung, but they didn't get ejected for that. And I think, and I don't know, brother, if you can find it, but there's like an image of like of Ice Cube like looking at when the scuffle was happening, and he doesn't look upset about it. He kind of looks at it like, you know what I mean? But it brings intensity. Look, it's going to bring more eyeballs to the big three. But I do think that the NBA has gone a little soft. With the taunting technicals, like I miss all of that. Like that's part of the game. That's emotions. You know what I mean? Like these guys are competitive at the end of the day, and they've been competitive most of their life because they've been playing this game most of their life. So I'm not afraid of a little scuffle, man. That makes the game entertaining because I love to watch players that I know don't like each other.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of seeing Lance Stevenson on the receiving end of a couple of L's. He lost to
Oh
last
yeah,
week.
big
He
time.
lost that one on
Oh,
one last
bees.
week. Beasley put it on him, and then this was Dwight Howard. So I'm a fan. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying seeing that.
yeah. Shout out to Michael Beasley, but Bees, I don't think you beating Melo on a one-on-one. But I
Mm.
digress. Friday night, OKC's MVP SGA Shea Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 35 buckets, while his co-star Jalen Williams added a 27 piece to the Thunder's win as they even the NBA Finals at 2 apiece against the Pacers. Brother, with Game 5 is tipping tonight, 8 o'clock on ABC. Who you got?
I got OKC. I got OKC, and it has less to do with the hate against the Pacers, and it has more to do with just like OKC. Once they get it together, it's really hard to beat. You know, it really is, and I think the Pacers have, as far as an incredible run that they've been on, luck has also been on their side. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I would say this though. I was a little wrong as far as the matchup goes. I think Indiana's style does it does possess some issues for OKC. However, I've never looked at it where I thought that OKC can manhandle them. And I believe they can. So I'm going with OKC game 5. I do think the series is going to go 7 though, brother. I do think it's going 7, but I got OKC winning tonight.
All right. Um, my bad.
No,
On
so
last week's Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther. Reports now suggest that Paul Levesque made the decision to book the title change in order to set up a World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and Goldberg at Saturday night's main event on July 12th, which happens to be the date of AEW All In, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it is.
Do you think this was the right call?
I'll tell you this, and people always gave Vince crap for this, right? Like people always gave Vince crap bringing in the old guys. You know, he did it with using Goldberg when Kevin Owens won the world title. Kevin Owens had a program with Jericho. This is when Jericho was doing the list, and that Jericho has said it in interviews that their match was supposed to be for the then WWE Universal World Title at WrestleMania, but Vince was so set on having Goldberg versus Brock at that WrestleMania, so he just brings Goldberg in. Goldberg beats Kevin Owens at Fastlane for the world title. And this scenario really mirrors that for me. And as much as Paul Levesque gets credit, I think it's time that we got to start scrutinizing his way of booking. Because although he is very different from Vince, he is very the same with Vince as well. Because right now, why would you take the title off arguably your hottest babyface, your biggest merch selling babyface? He's only been champion what, 50 plus days, so it hasn't even been that long, just to create a one-time match, just to cater to Goldberg's sad ass request that he was robbed of a final match because of that. Because we know you're not putting the world title on him. Well, but then again, he may. But then now you've already crapped on Jey Uso. Now you're gonna crap on Gunther if you were to do that. So you risk maybe losing steam out of your top babyface to cater to a washed up, couldn't make it as a football player, so he went to wrestling Bill Goldberg. It's a Vince McMahon thing that it would have been crapped on if it was Vince, that he's getting a pass for because he's not Vince. And I'm talking about Paul Levesque.
Had this been any other booker, they'd be criticized just for the same mistake. If it was Tony Khan bringing in somebody against his world champion and then this happened, we would be also crapping on him as well. So Paul Levesque, you are making a ton of bad decisions. Now, do I also think that this is a part of TKO and their decision making as well? Yes, I don't know how The Rock or Dwayne Johnson. Let's put Dwayne Johnson as this. I don't know how much he factors into that because he is a part of the board, and I don't know how you let your cousin lose to in this fashion. I don't get it why you would take that belt off of him and then immediately put him in the King of Ring tournament. That's the thing that gets me upset because it's just like, so now we got to watch him chase the belt again? I'm just it's a questionable decision and I don't get it. And also WWE, I get it. I get going head to head against your competitor as much as you want to claim that they're not your competitors and you guys are just the standard or whatever. Clearly your decision making shows that they are something that you're concerned about.
I was just gonna say that because if you didn't think so, you wouldn't make it your business to book. And this is not the first show. They have other shows that they have lined up to go against AEW.
Right. I think you could have booked Jey Uso in a better match in Saturday Night Main Event. I don't know let me just bring this up real quick. What eyes are you really bringing to Saturday Night Main Event to put Gunther and Goldberg? Goldberg, who isn't the most liked superstar, but I guess, Saudis and other people like him. And then Gunther, who outside of wrestling, people don't know.
And I'll also say this, why does that match need the title? He had Gunther disrespected Goldberg. Like, I know there's a little story there, but that didn't need the title. That doesn't need the title. It makes no sense. But that's Paul Levesque. I maybe it is TKO, maybe whatever. But you know what, Paul Levesque, you are the talking head. You are the lead booker, so you got to take the bullets for TKO, and we'll just leave it at that. But brother, we cannot wrap up a show without sharing the highlight of the week, and this one was a doozy.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all, the highlight of the week, and brother, I don't know if you read the script last week. I had this gentleman as the highlight of the week because he made a play that I was like, wow, exceptional. But then that's when I saw the Frank Ntilikina dunk, and I said, oh, this got to be over the top. So Denzel Clark must have known that I had him on originally and took him out because my man made arguably the most unreal catch you will ever see in baseball. This man literally became Spider-Man as he climbed up the wall and robbed Angels first baseman Nolan Schnell. I don't even know how you pronounce his last name. Schnell, I don't even know. Because it ain't about him. He robs the Angels hitter of a home run, climbing the wall. Basically, his whole torso is on the other side of the wall, making an exceptional catch. That is, honestly, that's one of the best catches I've ever seen in baseball history, let alone catch of the year.
I'll tell you this right now. We haven't discussed this, but I'm going to bring it up right now because I'm using my producer credits right now. I'm pulling my producer card. Brother,
baby.
We're going to do a top 10 plays of the year, and this will definitely be on there. I'm calling it right now.
Oh, yeah. That might be number one. That might be number one. And rookie center fielder, he's, according to MLB Pipeline, he is the A's number 6 prospect. I'll tell you this. He's already proven that he's got the glove. I don't know what's his offensive stats, to be honest. I haven't checked. But I'll say this. This man, if he finds a way to stay in the big leagues, in the show, he will have multiple Gold Gloves. Because if he can do that, there's nothing he can't. Yeah, there's nothing he can't do. But so shout outs to Denzel Clark. I think that's the only time the Athletics are ever going to get mentions here on the Ozone. But guys, it's been a great episode, and we just love and we just thank you for the continuous support that you guys continue to do for us and continue to do for us. So one, we want you guys to like and comment on this video. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about this Leon Rose approach to the head coach's vacancy. What do you think about Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown? Do you guys who do you like between the two, and do you guys think they are the right candidates that should be coaching our New York Knicks? Let us know about our new segment, Heat Check. Let us know what can we do? What can we do different? What did you guys like? What did you guys dislike? And what's your favorite shoe? Document that on the comments below. Let us know what you think about the Desmond Bane trade. Although it has nothing to do with the Knicks, it does have a lot to do with the Knicks. But guys, be sure to remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. We are now on, what are we on now, brother? We're on
Reddit. We're on Reddit now.
We are on Reddit. So we're on Reddit along with the usual suspects. Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. And guys,
TikTok.
We thank you so much. And TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is where we be booming on TikTok. We got a big surge on TikTok as of late. So and the subscribers are going up. So we thank you guys so much for the continuous support. And be on the lookout for another fire episode next Monday. Because that's what we do. Peace.
More than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.